and Trekkers. Welcome to this amazing Star Trek podcast on Trek Tuesday. I'm your host Orinda, and together with Amanda Hopper, I recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapped in chronically following. We will approach each episode with a humor and a feminine look. Today we recap the episode Up the Ladder, Long Ladder. The Enterprise received an automatic distress call from a human colony on the planet Bringloid, which is in danger from solar flares from its star. The colony turns out to have been founded by the crew of the SS Mariposa, a freighter launched from Earth several hundred years ago. As the Enterprise approaches the planet, Worf collapses on the bridge. When he regains consciousness in sickbay, he is embarrassed to admit suffering a Klingon childhood illness equivalent to measles. Dr. Pulaski agreed to protect his privacy in gratitude. Worf later approached her to offer a Klingon tea ceremony. He warns that the tea is deadly to humans and explains it is just a gesture which would be important in his culture. Pulaski suggests he is a romantic and takes an antidote to allow herself to drink the tea with him safely. The Bringloidi colony, now led by an Irishman named Danilo O'Dell and his hot-tempered daughter Brenna, are followers of an early 22nd century philosopher who advocated returning to pre-industrial agrarian lifestyle, and when taken aboard the Enterprise, must quickly adapt to the 24th century technology. O'Dell informs Picard of another colony, also planned by the Mariposa. The Enterprise proceeded to the second colony, which has named itself Mariposa after their ship, half a light year away. The colony's Prime Minister Walter Granger is happy to see the Enterprise and welcomes them to visit, so Commander Riker beams down with Lieutenant Worf and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pulaski. The Mariposa colony has kept their advanced technology and appear refined and cultured in contrast to the Bringloidi's relatively primitive existence. Pulaski quickly ascertains that all of the inhabitants are clones. Granger reveals that their ship crashed while landing and only 5 survivors were left to start the colony. And this was insufficient to establish a stable gene pool, and the survivors were all scientists. They turned exclusively to cloning instead and consequently no longer have any desire for biological reproduction. For almost 3 centuries, every Mariposan had been a clone derived from one of the 5 original colonists, and now the colony is in danger of dying out because of their replicative fading. Each subsequent generation introduces additional minor flaws in the genetic code, which within only a few more generations will make further clones non-operable. The Mariposans asked the Enterprise crew for samples of their DNA to create new clones. Riker refused, and he valued his uniqueness, and Picard advised that the rest of the crew is likely to feel the same. So the Mariposans kidnap Riker and Pulaski to steal their DNA. Upon discovery, the away team beams directly to the colony's cloning lab, where they are repulsed to find copies of themselves being grown, which Riker destroyed. Granger is furious and appeals to Picard, but Pulaski argued that a new batch of clones will only delay the inevitable. Instead, she advised that they consider partnering with the Bringloidi to create a viable gene pool. Initially, each colony leader treats the other society with disdain, but they eventually agree to merge their colonies and disparate cultures. Alright guys, welcome back, And of course, welcome back, Amanda.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. As it is now spring. Well, spring-ish, if we call it that in Canada when it's still snow out. But stuff's melting. I still hate it though, but whatever. And of course, we all know that when snow melts and it gets wet out, there's mud. Yeah, gotta deal with that now with our yard. And Dad the other day, we're gonna start our garden in the house. So we bought these little pots to put dirt and seeds in. So that's how we're starting it.
Hmm.
We're gonna have tomatoes and hopefully carrots and onions.
Yeah.
And this year, like I said before, I think I told you this, we're gonna, instead of having wood up as the barricades, we're just gonna make it one big flat row.
Hmm.
And I think we're putting like a mesh screen around it to keep those stupid deer out, and maybe they'll keep the raccoon out, unless that raccoon's smart.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to the groundhog.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, guys, if you have seen it on Twitter or Facebook, but my puppy of almost 7 months has been injured since last Sunday, or I mean a week before. He was playing in the brook, and some idiot of a kid have thrown a little scooter in it, and he caught himself on the bar handle. So he had a yap in his thigh. The poor thing.
Oh, poor
but okay, he is like I said, he is very hard for himself in that way, because he doesn't care. He just is his happy self, and my husband to be just saw it after 20 minutes. And then he was saying, okay, we're going home. And he didn't have any pain or whatever. But there was a big hole in him.
Oh, that would hurt.
Yeah, so we needed to bring him for surgery in. And, but he is impossible, really. He goes, even if he is injured, he goes.
Oh, jeez. And then you have them in that cone there, as I like to call it, the cone of shame, because they're so full of shame when they're in that cone.
Yes, he has one, and he hates it. So we will be happy if, and he's lethal with it, because he is hurting us with it. So we are also glad if this Saturday, this Friday, he can lose the cone.
Yeah, when they have the cone on, they have to punish you.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna hit you, whack.
Yeah, and especially he is a very active puppy, so you can imagine how that goes.
Yeah,
but,
all over the place, whacking everything with it.
But his wound is healing well, so I hope he can get the clearance Friday, that he can go for his long walk again, and because those stitches are.
Itchy.
Huh?
They're itchy for him.
No, not. That's okay, but they are water resistant, so they will. When that's why he had to. We can't walk him because of the movement limited he got.
Oh yeah. Then you gotta be careful with infections too.
Yeah. That's that too, but also mean like, he just, but he's fed up with being quiet. You know how spaniels are.
Make him so he's not bouncing all over the place, basically.
They do. Yeah, he does. So, yeah, I will be happy if he can walk him normally again. Of course, he can't go to the woodlands for still 1 or 2 weeks. So, but it will be good if we could walk him what he needs instead of being careful.
Yeah. You always gotta be careful when walking animals.
Well, he is very good in that way on his walk, and we always go to the woodlands near us in the park. But he loves the water, so he plays in the water and the mud whatever he can. And but there were just people who were throwing every trash of them in the brooks. And
of course they do. Throw all the crap in the rivers, thinking, "No, we can throw this in here. Nobody's going to go in here."
So
Ugh.
yeah, but it is also, it's also an area where a lot of people and families coming just to walk in the park, and when they do that, it's so dangerous there. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But okay. Let's start with the recap episode. And I guess this episode was in one way very funny.
Yeah.
Especially when Miles O'Brien beamed over the first batch of people, and there were like Irish people,
Yeah.
I think he was
like straw and hay.
So, the first thing that we are seeing of the episode is that there was something wrong with Worf. He was growling and not himself, and we have no idea what's going on with Worf. Then Picard came on the bridge, and he asked if Riker join him in his wedding room, because there was some kind of a SOS signal that Starfleet had come in, but they don't know anything about it. So the Enterprise had to go for a investigation. And Picard and Riker were discussing, okay, which earthly spaceship could be out of range and sending this SOS. We need to help them in these.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go on to the bridge. And at that moment that they were on the bridge, Worf went down. He fainted. And they asked Dr. Pulaski to come, and Worf was in sickbay. And Klingons. Klingons hate to be in sickbay, especially doctors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So his reaction was also like, Doc, I'm fine, blah, 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 blah. And, I think from this episode, I really start liking Pulaski. Because, you know my opinion as well. In the beginning, I didn't like her. But she reacted like, Worf, don't be a fool. There's something wrong with you and I'm worried. And he was accepting that. And
yeah, Worf. I think Worf said a warrior Klingon never faints or something like that. I think he said.
And Pulaski knew that too. Pulaski knew that too, and she told him that. And she said, when she did some more tests, she discovered that he had the Klingon measles of chickenpox,
Yeah, and he's like, hey, normally we get him as a kid, and he never had him as a kid apparently. I don't even think I had him when I was a kid. I've had chickenpox, but I don't think I've had measles.
So that was in a way funny, because, and I noticed that to hold the series true is that he has those funny outbreak Klingon periods of sickness or whatever, and his reaction on it is very Klingon, but also very human. And I don't know if you have noticed. I'm sorry, guys, this is a little spoiler, but the Klingon, the Worf that we see now in Star Trek Picard, he is hilarious. He is making so much jokes and his dry humor that I'm thinking, wow, this is the Worf that I really wanted to know.
Sassy. So, and drinking chamomile tea.
Oh yeah. You know, Worf and Raffi are a very unique pair. Just like how they work together, and you know, in one way they are alike because they are fiery and spice things up in the way of I had to laugh so hard in this episode. The woman Branna, who is very spicy as an Irish woman, and she was the one who held everyone together and kicked the man's ass if they are drunk again, etc. Especially her father.
Yeah, she got mad at Worf for that one, for introducing him to alcohol through the record.
Good, yes, and she was screwing him out, and then he said to her, "Madam, have you considered a job in security?" And
that was funny.
Oh, that was so funny. That was so funny. I was really thinking, okay. And that reminds me on the Worf that we are knowing now in Picard. He is so funny and he has so dry humor that you're thinking, huh? Is he a Klingon?
Or a comedian.
So, Picard asked Pulaski how Worf is doing, and Pulaski was sealing up that Worf had the measles, and so Worf was very thankful to her. And we also see later that Worf comes back with a tea ceremony to her, and she was very, and that's what I was liking of her. She knew the tea ceremony of the Klingons, and when they started, Worf said, "You can't drink it, but because humans will die from the tea, only Klingons can drink." And then he said also, "We drink this tea in like what the Japanese kamikaze pilots will do before they go on a kamikaze mission. They will drink sake. But Worf and the Klingons drink that tea. So, and that's what I really loved about Pulaski. Said, okay, no problem. She ran back and she got herself a hypo spray with the antidote in it, so she could drink the tea with him. And that is just like comrades on the to each other. And so he said, "I would love to drink this with you as you being my mate," and not in a sexual way, but just he was thankful.
Yeah.
And he then told her, or she was commenting on something like, "Oh, Worf, you are really a true romantic person." And Worf said, "Well," and that made me think hard and laugh hard. He told her, "Well, we Klingons love poetry, opera, and flowers." And I was thinking, excuse me, Klingons? Really?
Yeah. They
Oh,
like to beat each other up.
and that made me laugh too. When Brana was firing up to Worf, when Worf and Picard walk away from that group, Worf said something like, "She is compatible like a Klingon woman."
Yeah,
And I
because
was,
the Klingon women are very feisty. They'll fight like crazy.
yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Oh, okay, that's gonna be fun. So, then there was a scene that we see that Picard and Riker are finding out where the signal is coming from, and Data told Picard that there was a group of people that would go make a colony out of somewhere of the planet, and they will colonize it for like a second place to live for. And so they find out that it was a Class M. They did a Class M reading for this planet. I mean, the Enterprise. But I have no idea if you noticed it. And I noticed it and I was thinking, what the heck? When they did this Class M reading, the carpet on the bridge was super dirty.
Yeah, usually it looks pretty clean, but yeah, sometimes it gets a bit of dirt on it. Maybe
It was
somebody forgot to
really
vacuum it.
dirty. I was thinking, what the heck, you know? Normally they always it's always ship to shape, and now it was dirty and yeah, it was weird to see it.
Yeah, I guess somebody forgot to vacuum it that night.
So they are now on that planet, and I forgot the name. And they sent an away team, so Riker was, got down, and he was talking about it with the people, etc., etc., etc. And then Picard said, "Well, don't have the time. You need to beam them up. And what is the situation?" And well, they started to send the first batch up. And did you see the look of O'Brien's face? He was like, "Whoa, this is familiar." And I can't remember that he's the father of Branna, and he was the one who is the, how you can say this, like the leader of that group of 200 people. But instead of just beaming up as people, no, they have their livestock also with them.
Yep, they have their livestock, all their clothes, all animals, their whatever. They brought practically everything with them, even spinning wheels they brought with them.
Yeah, and I think they were like the explorers who wanted to have a new fortune, and that's why they went up in space and tried to have make a colony on one of the Class M planets.
Yeah.
So O'Brien was a little bit flabbergasted and overwhelmed, I guess. And he told Picard, "Well, get someone here because this is going to be overwhelming." So Picard and Worf went down, and in the meanwhile, those people make a lot of trouble. And so I thought they were housed in one of the cargo bays, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, that's where they were.
And so Picard said to security, I want order, because this is insane. And a while later, the fire alarm in that cargo bay went off.
Yeah, it did. I guess one of the passengers decided they're going to lay a little fire to cook, I guess.
That was Brenna. And also her father, and that was super funny. Also, that is again a scene that we still will be coming, but her father wanted to make his own moonshine.
Woohoo!
And there was this funny scene with Worf, and Worf said, well, we can have real alcohol from the replicator. Let me show you. So he and her father walk up to the replicator, and Worf punched some buttons to activate it, and so her father said, whiskey. That was the first thing he said. Now, he took a sip, and he said, it's not the best good as the real thing. So, now the fun part came, and Worf ordered a Klingon alcohol drink. And I don't know if you guys have seen the episode as well. I mean, rewatch it. And if you see the face of her father, it was like, woo! I'm already drunk. That's strong.
Yeah, it's like the face you make when you drive by a farm and you smell the smell. That's the face he makes. It's like, whoa! It's like, whoa, that's strong.
And I think he was drunk right away.
Oh, probably. Knowing that Klingon alcohol, that stuff will probably get you drunk quicker than a skunk.
So, Picard went to the cargo bay to check, and instead of being irritated, he started to laugh, and he told Riker, well, sometimes you need to laugh through the irony, and then he was a lot calmer than he was.
When he started laughing, I'm like, uh-oh, what's he laughing about? It's like,
And then...
he never really laughs.
You mean Picard? So then we meet Brenna Odell, so that's the spicy lady. And did you see right away Riker's interest in her? That smile said everything.
Oh yeah. Riker was really interested in her.
And I kind of managed that because she's a beautiful woman. But I think what he attracted to her was like her spiciness and just being that strong lady.
You like that?
Oh yeah. So
I think that's also something Worf appreciates too, as a strong person.
Yeah, but that is, I think, why Worf was saying that she was equal like a Klingon woman.
Yeah.
And I think in one way, it attracted him as well to her.
Yeah.
So there was this scene, and she said, well, men are useless and women has to do everything, and she wanted to clean up, and Riker said, the computer is doing it for yourself, etc., etc., etc. And Riker was looking at her from top to bottom. And
Or
she lifted her skirt, and then he saw her dirty feet and a little bit of leg. And she said, well, where can a lady clean up her feet or freshen up her feet? And so Riker became very courteous, and he offered her his arm, and what a surprise! Douchebag Riker took her to his room so she could freshen up.
yeah.
And I was thinking, if she was wearing what she was wearing, and what she was wearing after when she went with Riker, what a totally different outfit is that? When she just
one it was like a shirt that was like a crop top shirt. You could see her belly.
Yeah.
And the other one was like a skirt.
I was thinking, she was very in like modern clothes, as in covered everything and be aware of it. And as soon as she came with Riker, you see her sexiness, you know?
Oh,
what
yeah.
Was really weird, because in that other dress, I find her more sexier than. This reminds me of that episode with those female matriarchs on that planet, and that women was ruling the world and men were the submissive.
Oh yeah, that one, Angel 1.
Yeah, that reminded me of. There was another scene after that, and Brenna was saying Pulaski wanted to send the children to the school on the ship so they can have an education. And her father said, oh, that's good. And right away the answer of Brenna came, well, what the hell are you standing on here still? Get sorted it out for them, you know? She has to kick his ass again to do something.
That's the way it is sometimes with guys. You have to give them a good strip kick in the butt to get something done.
Well, and then her father was walking up with Captain Picard, and I believe it was Riker, but I'm not sure. And her father tells Picard about the other planet of the other people. And so they found out, I think a half a light year away, there was another planet where the other shuttle has been crashed on, and only 5 people have survived. And because they all were scientists, and with less people who could reproduce and make a village in that sense, they start cloning.
Yeah.
And so they got to that other planet, and it was in that way really weird to hear that the planet that called Mariposa was also the name of the ship that brought them there.
Oh yeah, I just remembered that. Yeah, the ship was Mariposa, so they named the planet Mariposa. Oh yeah, neat.
And before the awaiting went down, Troy was telling Riker, be careful, be cautious, because the Prime Minister is hiding something. And I must say, I didn't like that Prime Minister. he was so, yeah, like Troy said, he was keeping something,
Sketchy.
yeah, really sketchy.
Sketchy dude.
And so Pulaski went down, and Worf as well, right? I thought so, he did.
Yeah, I think it was Worf and Riker.
Yeah, and Pulaski.
Yeah.
And while they were there, she was scanning someone to see if there was something medical wrong. And as soon as they went, they are at the burial of the Prime Minister, the first thing she did is introduce her, but asking the right away direct question if the planet only consists clones.
Yeah, she went right out and said it. So, are you a whole planet of clones?
Well, I must say, I think that is the one thing I really like about Pulaski.
Yeah. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She tells it like it is.
Like the Dutch do.
Yeah, Canadians are the same way. We don't sugarcoat stuff.
So I think that is the one. I think that is one of the things I really like about Pulaski.
Mm.
And well, in that case, the Prime Minister asked for help because they were desperate. They needed new DNA to clone new people, and blah, because the clones that they have were defective in a way. It's like if you would have incest in families, and you will how more and how farther they are in the incest DNA.
Yeah,
how
like,
more.
Yeah, like in the time of the pharaohs, they basically married each other in the family.
Yeah. But not
And
what I
same
mean.
Same with the Habsburgs.
What I mean is that how more they lived, or how more they cloned, how more damaged they were.
Yeah, the DNA gets more and more damaged with each time, I guess.
Well, it's also like, and this is maybe a very hard subject for a lot of people. When you have incest, and those women and children are getting babies from their family members, how more they have done that in the family, how more there are illness and damage in the body, physical damage, will be there. And that's also happened with those clones. So,
remember there was an X-Files episode like that? Called Home Soil?
Oh, I can't remember.
Dealt with a crazy family.
Well,
it was a family that, did that, and the baby didn't survive. They buried it in a field, and that's how Mulder and Scully found out about him. It was called Home Soil, and apparently that episode was banned for years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can only see it on DVDs.
But, yeah. So, the Prime Minister is on the Enterprise, and he asked for help, and he said, we want your DNA. And Riker was right away, no way, you're not going to get my DNA, screw that. And then he was looking at, I believe, Pulaski and Picard, and they declined too. And I must say, the debate that they had just then, or the discussion they had just then, I can't find myself in the two parties. In one way, never clone, it's you are unique as you are. And in the other hand, I can understand the Prime Minister as well, because this is about extinction and surviving.
Yeah, that's true. But the clone is like, it's getting every time they use the clone's DNA to clone another person, it just wears down. Basically, it wears down like printer ink, basically.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Just wears down like printer ink.
So, the Enterprise and also Captain Picard declined for his whole crew. The Prime Minister asked, okay, will you be so nice then to lend me some of your engineers to help us repair of our stuff. So that was okay. So Riker, Pulaski, and Geordi and the engineering team went down. And as soon as they almost ready, Riker and Pulaski went to the Prime Minister and tell him that. But the Prime Minister had other plans for them. So they stunned them and they carried them away to the lab so they could get their DNA. And what I remember is that they erase their memories, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think they did.
As soon as Riker and Pulaski was out of the room, Geordi came in. And the Prime Minister was saying, well, I haven't seen Riker and Pulaski, so you have to find, you can hunt down themselves, you know. But because Geordi had his visor, he could see that the Prime Minister was lying. And everywhere, to every clone he asked the question, he has been lied to. So once they were on the Enterprise again, Geordi immediately asked, guys, are you okay? Because I went looking for you and every clone I talked to was lying. So Riker said, no, I'm fine, and is there something wrong, and how do you know that they're lying? So Geordi told him, well, it's my visor, so I can see more things than normal people. And then it clicked. Pulaski and Riker hadn't memories about a period of when they were down. And then they find out that they got their DNA. So Pulaski and Geordi and Riker went down to terminate the clones what they are already making. And Riker, the Prime Minister was too late, but he accused them of murdering those clones and etc. And Riker said, we had said no to you and you had to respect our wishes. And you haven't done that. So
nope, they did not.
After that, they being back on board the Enterprise again. And so Picard was really in discussing with himself what he had to do. So you had I think there was something like they called the Bellonians or something, and the Mariposas. And then he had the brilliant idea, okay, we gonna integrate those two groups together, and because the something still are pure and are no clones, they can help the Mariposas. And so that is what he was proposing. And the Mariposa of the Prime Minister Mariposa said, I don't want to because they are dumb and look how they look like and blah 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 blah. And this was the first and only wise thing Donella's father said. You can say this and you can say that, but we are healthy and we can give you offspring, so we can build a good colony. And so Pulaski told them, okay guys, if you really want to do that, the females and girls in both Mariposa and Bella something group have to have at least 3 husbands or bed partners, because then you will have a strong DNA to survive. And the look on the Prime Minister's face, that was priceless. That was really priceless. And so eventually the Prime Minister of Mariposa agreed to it, and I think he had no other choice. And then they shake hands, what was in a one way funny, to seal the deal. And the first thing Donella's father said, okay, bring me my 3 new wives. And I was thinking, oh, you freaking douchebag. But okay, it was that. And then, but this was the solution for Picard, but also for both groups. And so the Prime Minister went to the cargo bay and take a look around to the people. And then he saw the first time that young girl that was pregnant, and he was amazed because they don't know that process of being pregnant. And he was so discarded with how the whole natural progress be involved. And I had to laugh about this as well, and that was a very good line for Miss Odell's father. He said, well, you bring a girl and you bring a boy together. If they become a couple, you let nature do his part, and that's it. And because, bear in mind guys, the Mariposas are only clones, so they don't know how that revolution
whole thing goes down.
Yeah. And I think they almost were disgusting of the whole natural thing.
Kind of reminds me of Sheldon Cooper on The Big Bang Theory.
Yes. Talking about Big Bang Theory, in about 6 episodes of Orinda Talks, I will do an episode about the Big Bang Theory. And of course, I will mention something about the Star Trek cosplay, what they did.
I remember that one.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Sheldon, Leonard, Howard, and Raj.
Oh yeah. That was really funny. So,
yeah, it's like with Sheldon. It's like with Sheldon and him not, having a girlfriend or anything until he got to be with
Amy.
Penny, I think her name was?
Amy, yeah.
Amy. I can't get the name straight of some of those girls. Amy.
Talking about the Big Bang Theory, guys. Yesterday, Coco, who played Penny, the girlfriend of Leonard.
Okay. Yeah, her.
She is not the nerdy of them all. The rest are nerds. But she...
We're there.
Because, but she has become a mother for the first time yesterday.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah, so that was that was nice to know, and also like I know you guys, it's I must say I could only appreciate the Big Bang Theory after it is a little bit of a few times of rewind it again when I saw them for the. It's a brilliant sitcom. It's a brilliant sitcom. It really is. So I have a lot to talk about on that episode.
Yeah. Sheldon and Amy, that's who was together.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what season it was, but I think they, as he put it, coitus, he calls it.
Yeah. It was so funny, those two. Those two are so funny. He
finds it a little too disgusting for him.
I must say, he really acted well as Sheldon. Jim Parsons. He to play somebody like that, I think maybe on one hand he did a lot of research before that. Otherwise he can't play like that.
I probably did.
So, back to the episode. So the Prime Minister is a little bit overwhelmed with the people and what he sees, and in one way how old-fashioned they are. They don't have technology. And so, Miss Odell's father took her away a little bit apart section, and he told her, well, this is the proposal that I had and I accepted. And she became so super angry. That was so funny to see. And so Picard talked her down. She became calm. And then she said, tree husband, eh? Who's the man there standing or talking about over with my dad? And Picard and Riker smiled and they said, well, that is the Prime Minister. So, and I think if you look farther into this episode, or what maybe they could make a whole new series about, or what happened after that.
Yeah, what did happen to that colony?
Talking about new series, guys. Last week I also there was an announcement that there are a new Star Trek series on the way, because Picard is ending and Discovery is ending. And yes, I really hope they do something with as a warm. I know there are Adventures of the Young Worf, but there actually is coming a Starfleet Academy series.
I know.
And I'm really looking forward to it. And they say that maybe the Section 31, that should be a series, maybe they are going to make only a movie of it. So we will see. I must say, like I said before in the episodes, they really, like Star Trek Picard is really going out with a bang. Each episode is better and better and better. It's insane. It's really insane. I never, ever have experienced this in a Star Trek series. Never. I mean, like Picard, season 1 was ergie. I was thinking, okay, they still need to find their way, like always. Season 3 was a little bit better. And of course we had that douchebag of a Will Wheaton who kept his mouth shut, and of having the last cameo of ever there. And that's what I was saying. I was in that way very shocked that Beverly had another son. And
I know, I was surprised by that.
I was really thinking, and what about Wesley? Does Wesley know? He's a time traveler, so what the heck?
Maybe he'll pop in the last episode, maybe.
He said that he wouldn't do that because they didn't want it. They want the travelers have a other part of a series that will be a more bigger part of it. But I was hoping in one way that he would have this little reunion with his mother. I was hoping for it, but
maybe they will at the end.
But they have been reunited in Star Trek Online. The last story arc line is with Wesley Crusher as the Terran Emperor. And only his mother, the Terran Beverly Crusher, could stop him. And we are also talking about Voyager and Terran Janeway.
Oh.
So that is very interesting. And if you guys would like to see how that story arc line is with the Terran, also Terran Lita and Terran Captain Tilly. If you really want to see how that story arc line goes, you can go on the Fleet YouTube, the Fleet Knights of Nalada. There are, I recorded the whole story arc line, so you will be having a few of them. And have been live streamed on my personal YouTube and on Twitch. So if you really like to see how that storyline goes, you can watch it there. I can even put a link under maybe in the description and on the YouTube or Facebook page of Ghost Talking Track. Maybe you would like that to see that. But there are also more like the Discovery line, and that is with Captain Lorca and the whole Discovery crew. Most of the like. You have, for example, of course, 7 of 9, isn't it? But also Burnham and a couple of other more. So, yeah, Star Trek Online did a lot of story arc lines with the series and movies. Well, that's really interesting. So, we are at the end of this episode, guys. The IMDb rating is a 6.2. I think that is a little bit too low. I do think it's a good storyline. It's also a storyline with a message. So I would give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
What about you, Amanda?
Yeah, I would rate it about the same. It was a good episode. I agree. It was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is there something you'd like to add, or is there something we didn't say yet?
I can't really think of anything. I know I found a blooper reel online, and there was a part of that episode, one of the guys from that episode, the father, him, I think it was Picard, Patrick Stewart, and Gene Roddenberry's behind the scenes clip on the blooper
Yeah, they
reel.
were singing. It was Worf.
Yeah, you saw that then. Okay,
Worf, Worf, Gene Roddenberry, and that father.
Picard.
No, that father.
Picard was singing. Oh,
But
maybe
okay.
it's those three. I
But that
thought
was funny,
John
yeah.
was in there. I never thought Michael Dorn could sing, but he can.
Oh, I love Michael Dorn, and ever since when he was a guest at Gates McFadden's podcast, I loved him even more, and I love him even more when he came back in Picard. I like this Worf. He is very mature now, and it looks like he takes Ruffy under his wings.
Mm.
But yeah, that is Worf. Maybe I need to do a Klingon special episode.
Oh.
Well, guys, that was the episode. I hope you guys like it. Give us some feedback on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook group or wherever you can. Because we really like to talk about those episodes we recapped. And we want to know your opinion and let us know how we're doing. Of course, bear in mind this is still amateuristic because it is just for fun.
Mm.
And yeah, well, thank you again, Amanda.
Yeah, same here.
Well, guys, we see you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, live long and prosper, guys.
Dear listeners, thank you for listening and join us in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we will recap the episode Manhunt. I also like to tell you about my other podcast called Orinda Talks. Orinda Talks is a podcast which and I talk about books, movies, fandoms, and other geek things. You can find Orinda Talks on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook group. We will see you in 2 weeks.